Jeff, and I blew the introduction.
We'll talk off the
Okay,
intro.
wait a minute. Okay. Welcome to this week's edition of The Passion of the Digital Artist. And we're doing it a little bit different tonight. You see us both in front of the camera. I feel bad for you, actually.
No way. No way. This is it. This is the way to do it.
How you doing, Jeff?
I'm great. How are you, Xavier?
All right. Enjoying an almost blood moon tonight. We're looking at a amber orange moon coming up over the trees. It's beautiful.
Completely.
We would show it to you, but it would look like a furry orange safety light over the camera.
Yeah, the camera just doesn't do it justice.
Yeah,
I
it
tried
doesn't.
taking a picture with my iPad. It looked like a little pin.
One of the things you can't do with cameras and social media is share astrological pictures unless you really are geared to take those kind of pictures.
with your telescope.
But there are other things you can do with social media, and I think what we want to talk about tonight is how social media is being used in ways other than just communicating with your friends. And you know, Jeff, you have a better pulse on this than I do, quite honestly. Tell us how today's young professionals are utilizing social media to conduct business and, for that matter, to leverage new business.
Well, going around and pretty much utilizing all of my talents and putting them out there on the internet. I've met a lot of people, and the networking that I've been doing and using social media is the standard way to use social media. But what I have been noticing, and it's the word, it's the word, it's called sharing. And I've noticed that in a lot of places that I go to where 25 to 35-year-old young executives and young entrepreneurs are running these businesses, and they need artwork, either digital artwork, which I'm taking around kind of a portfolio and showing off my wares that way. But I've noticed that it's a different climate than what I grew up in. You know, when me and Xavier were talking when we were young kids and we were being trained, and the computer wasn't part of.
When I came into
business.
the working world, there were no computers, and you know, obviously, my business deals with computers now, so that's how much it's changed everything. Many of you probably already know that, you know, historians liken the advent of affordable computing and the internet as an important development in human history as the wheel or fire. It has changed everything.
Yep. And the way business was done, it was done. I would work on a project, and it would take weeks to finish. We were airbrush right on photographs, and then it would have to go through the process of all the changes, and then it would go to a separator who would make 4-color films, and those would all have to be okay. And it would, to do one ad would take, in some cases, if you're doing a lot of artwork on the actual photograph, it could take up to a month to produce this ad. Now, people produce ads in a day, in hours, and doing this almost the same amount of work because of computers. And that speed up process for our generation, we implemented it, but we implemented with the business tactics that the generation before were able to, through 40, 50 years, set down in stone. They because things moved at that pace, there was a set way of doing business. And so we applied that quick, fast technique, but we still used the same business skills and techniques and tactics to go about and complete the business. And then all of a sudden the computer started to change that, and it became more and more accessible to more and more people. And the people, so the next generation behind our generation, what I've noticed is that when they came out of college, unlike when I came out of college, if you came out of college and you had a degree, or even if you didn't have a degree, based off your training, you were getting a job. These kids are today are coming out of college with 4-year degrees, master's degrees, and there's no job there for them. It's not guaranteed. They got all this debt, college debt, and there's no guarantee. But what I've seen their answer to it, and it's all around me now, even into my 15-year-old child, and I've been researching this, is that the kids of today and the young people of today are now willing to share. Where the generation before us, what they taught us is if you find a niche, you basically build a whole big metal cell around yourself and you exploit that niche, but don't let anybody else in on that niche because someone's going to steal it from you. Because that's why you need copyrights, and that's why. But today, the kids of today are basically changing the business platform, and their businesses are set up by sharing. Because as they're building their businesses, they're YouTubing or blogging and just going on the internet and sharing exactly what they're doing with anybody else who wants to do it. And there's people out there who want to do it, and they love that they're sharing, so they help out.
Do you think?
It's networking at the ultimate level.
Do you think that the culture has changed ahead of social media, or that the social media in promoting sharing non-business related items has promoted the openness in the business world? I guess which is the chicken and which is the egg what I'm asking.
I think the young people right now, we are talking about 8, 10, 12-year-olds are sharing. They're able to share and talk with people around the country, around the world. And when people together with positive attitudes, because when you're on social media, everybody's positive and they're looking for affirmation, likes, and everything, and followers, and on, you know, they're using YouTube to show, they're using Twitter to promote, they're using Facebook, they have all these accounts, Instagram, and they're getting gratification, and they're getting they're being noticed by other people, and these people, it plays upon an energy that will fully, this generation will start to just finish off what their generation before them has started in business by sharing. And eventually I could see it being that you're just networking, everybody's networking with everybody, which then creates this big, and that's not happened yet, a big kind of giant networking cell between maybe 50, 60 companies that used to compete, but because they do this cell,
yeah,
they all of a sudden join together, and each service adds, and they all, they all are successful.
In the computer and technical industry, we've kind of seen a little bit of that, or should I say a significant amount of that, even before formalized social media. You had dial-up bulletin boards to share information, and then that went on the internet. And of course, the open source movement, Linux,
right?
That is a collaboration of millions and millions of people,
and they can update, but
and
it's
companies
it's
too
free.
that have joined and collaborated. And you have other examples of open source software out there. So that was kind of, maybe, if I could draw a comparison there, that was kind of on the leading edge of all this.
You're right.
To an extent, and maybe a lot of people have taken what they learned and how they were able to utilize the software products, and now they're sharing what it is they produce or what service they provide in the same way techniques and information was shared or collaborated on open source software. Perhaps there's a link there.
Oh, there definitely is. I mean, it's not a new concept, but it's a new concept in the where people couldn't do this worldwide. Eventually, everybody can do it worldwide. I mean, there's like my 15-year-old son has a group of people that they play video games almost every day, and the 5 or 6 people are across the country. There's no way throughout this, but yet they're sharing their information in the game. They all get together and they share what they have to create one group that goes through this game, and then they all together master the game using all the knowledge. And it's the same thing, all the knowledge that they learned individually, they become one strong unit and go through this game and are successful. And if you take those same business that same mentality into business, which they're doing, and they're doing it all by themselves. They build they're doing it without the big companies and everything. And now the big companies are starting to pick up on it, but at the same time, they're getting big themselves. And I really see a movement, a positive movement coming out of this with sharing. So that's the message that I wanted to bring across tonight. That as myself, in the coming days, that you have to share. It doesn't. If somebody wants to do what I want to do, God love them. If they want to sit in front of a computer screen for 327 hours on a painting, I want to show them how to do it because I love doing it. It's what I love to do. And their talents, they're not going to do exactly the same things that I'm doing. Their talents are going to come through in what they've learned and what not. I have no problem with that. It's like there's so many artists out there that are doing something, they're like, oh, I don't want to. It's the whole idea is to create artwork, share the beauty of your artwork, and if someone wants to know how you do it, and even if they're an artist, you want to share that, because in the end, if everybody's sharing, you're going to be able to pick up with someone else who's sharing, and that is the key. It's just the key is sharing, and I see the younger generation doing it, and we're going away from what the older generation used to do with their secrets and their that's where patents came from, because everybody was stealing everybody's idea and big business was coming in. I don't see that out of the young people. I see them going off and doing their own thing, but they're sharing it. They're not worrying about someone coming and taking, because they know they put the hard work and effort into it. It's going to work out for them, and so far it has. So we're going to see where it goes, but I think this week's word is sharing, right?
I think we've got that word down pat now, but that's an excellent take on the current the business and social media interaction, Jeff.
Well, coming up, right now on Twitter, I'm working with David Sandom. I've talked about him in the past. He's real busy getting his book ready, but he wants to do a Skype interview with me. So we are going to be we're going to do a network and share some things together about what our experiences are so far. He has taken Twitter and Facebook and has been very successful. So I want to have him on so we could talk about how he's gone about doing this and his personal experiences and what he's gone through in his story. So that'll be coming up in the next couple of video blogs, if not the next. I don't know. I'm trying to get the time down with him. And then coming up will be my total story. I'm gonna share my story of where I'm at now. For the last 3 years we've been video blogging, but it's going to be I'm just going to go through on the complete story. I'm going to share that with everybody coming up. So look forward to that. That'll be either next week if David's still too busy, or in the next coming week. So, but that's where we're going with that.
Sounds pretty exciting. Thanks for joining us, folks. We'll catch you next week.
Woo!